Alright, welcome back from the quick short break. I hope you're following, and if the spirit moves you, please, in the comment section down below, we'll be getting your feedback from there. Lemon, you're still saying?
So in addition, as we're talking back to health, we're talking about health. Part of the ethic that caught my eye was the freedom to be independent and dictate your own body. That would be healthy ways, whether in regards to what you want to do, whether you want to give birth or not, whether you want to, what your sexual desires are, what your identity is. So as feminists, we are granted that passage to be able to own us and not anyone telling us what we should do. Don't tell me. Nemo Don't tell a Nemo how to dress. So what to do? Why
you have to go with soul? Sometimes wants to go with that tea.
I think that even sugar. Yeah. So let the lemon go wherever it wants to go, how it wants to be tasted, how it wants to be desired, and all that. So okay, moral of the story is independence and over your body in regards to dictation, in regards to your sexual identity, in regards to your orientation. We should not be told what to do. We should not be told how to dress. We should not be conforming to such things. I shouldn't be told how to make love to the person I want to make love with, you know. Why do you want to come to my bedroom matters. Why do you want to tell me when to give birth? Why do you want, like, these are things that should be mine because it is my body. My body. Yeah. So yeah.
And in addition to what she said, I do not really know why it affects people so much what another person's choice is. Like what Nimu does in her bedroom does not affect you in any way. I also urge the general public to take more time to actually develop yourself instead of focusing on what other people do. You know, the economy is getting hard. So the more you waste time on who Nimu is with, how, when you know, you would come up with a business plan that will actually put food on your table or create a family business. Yeah, you're wasting a lot of time.
And then, so there is the critical engagement with discourses of religion, culture, tradition, and domesticity. Like, so feminism calls for, because one of the ways in which women are violated is backed up by religion and culture mostly, but also the fact that they look at women as people that belong in domestic settings. So what feminism is doing is to help us engage with these different discourses in ways that are uplifting to women, but also help people unlearn. Because I think one of the kingdoms I'm very proud of is the Uganda kingdom. Like, their king has unlearned a lot to do with culture. Because if you look at Buganda kingdom, like in the, what was then? I wasn't yet born because I'm young. Like in the 80s, I don't know, in the 90s, before I was born, it was very patriarchal. And this king has unlearned a lot of patriarchy that he inherited from his father. Like, you see how, like, for instance, there's still a lot to unlearn. I'm not saying that they are perfect, but I also recognize seeing what the Kabaka has done about empowerment of women and girls, about the place that the Nabagaka is taking, about the independence. Look at his daughter, Katrina. Like, the things she does are encouraging so many young people because she's going against everything we think a princess should be like. The other princess, I think, married out of, like, the tribe. So I also know the Teso Kingdom is doing that quite a lot. The Imari is, like, on the forefront of fighting for women's rights in the Teso region. So what feminism is, like, engaging, like, with these people or these discourses to make sure that we unlearn those things that culture and religion has defended that have led to abuse of women.
In addition, what also stood out for me in the charter is how it encourages women and girl children to move out of the box, because in the society we live in, very many boxes are piled on a woman, what you're supposed to do, how you're supposed to do it, how you're supposed to dress, very many things. You find a woman, most people, someone was saying that women are angry. It's because of all these piled boxes on who a woman is supposed to be. But this charter came out to call out a woman, and this is actually why it's very important for women to come out and be feminists, because we want to break all and burn all the boxes that have been piled on who a woman and a girl child should be and the spaces they should take.
The charter goes ahead to say, for us to achieve all of this as humans, we need to come together. We need to have that humility. We need to have that ubuntu. We need to do this from a point of togetherness. Because when we are together, then the problem is well defined. Yes.
Problem shared.
Yes. Tolekera sister muno chizibu just because you don't know.
Yeah. And speaking of rights of women to live freely, free of patriarchal oppression, the charter also expresses the right to actually expression and more so of our spirituality within and outside organized religion. What do I mean by this? We have the religion was actually an imported culture. I'll call it culture. But initially we were, we had our crafts. We had our African crafts, our African beliefs that we were accustomed to, traditions. And with the charter, it helps, it's giving us more permission to actually deliberately and freely express our spirituality without, being questioned, and also in a way that is appreciating culture and also appreciating our African queerness.
So odi jaja muwanga, odi jaja ndawulo w'enkuba. Toyina buzibu. Musoko wa nyanja.
And my blender is just blending everything.
Yeah, the blender does that.
So like the blender, misgendering the judges, misjudging. But anyway, so just to supplement on what the blender talked about, it's important for us to cultivate mutually respectful relationships, because considering that the charter talks about feminism having no ifs, buts, or howevers, we have to embrace women in their diversity. Because what patriarchy does is it puts women against each other, but it also paints pictures of what a good woman is and what a bad woman is. So typically there will always be a wing of where other women will be like, this woman does not belong in this circle. And feminism takes that away. Like, I am your sister. I'm your sister whether you have long hair and I have short hair. I'm your sister whether you're light or I'm dark. I'm your sister whether you're married and I'm divorced. Like, this is something that brings us together.
Or single and by choice.
Or whether you're gay and I'm not. Or whether you're cohabiting and I'm wedded. Like, feminism just brings a togetherness around women that lets go of all the differences that we have. And this is important in sustaining our history. Because feminism talks about her story, no his, hers, so her story, because we are documenting the contribution of women to the movement, to the country. We are recognizing the work that other women have done before us. Because we are living like on the shoulders of our ancestors. Like, there are people who did things. There are people even who wrote this charter that has allowed us to be here today and talk about it. So it's important for us to document our story. And our story involves ensuring that everyone's contribution or part in that story is included. So where are like the business women, the sex business women like me in the feminist story? Where are the women, the lesbians, the bisexuals in that story? Where are the trans women in that story? Right? So we need to be able to tell our own stories, because if we don't, then the people who tell it distort it. So it's important for us as feminists to document, whichever way you want to document. This is one of the ways for us to be telling our story as queer women. We have this podcast, which we know maybe 100 years from now will still be here. When we are old and frail, someone will listen to Lemon talk about the feminist charter.
Yeah.
Right? When maybe someone is in the closet and they're struggling with their sexuality, they will listen to the podcast and know that there's, for instance, an organization here that can support them. When someone is in a marriage and they want to leave, they'll listen to Mary say, I'm divorced and I'm okay. And maybe that may inspire them to walk. If someone is selling their body or is looking for a business that involves it or capital, they can listen to me and know that you can sell sex and live off it.
The thing I had forgotten to add is women have been raised, we have been raised in a way that we feel we should be like it's not okay not to be okay. Yeah? But it is very okay not to be okay because we are human beings, we are women, and we break. Yeah? And it's very okay. You need to go through all of those phases. Yeah, it's okay to divorce. Society has it as if you divorcing is something very bad. In that they would even advise you to stay with a man who beats you up blue-black. What is that? Yeah? So it is very okay to be you, to be black, to be beautiful, to be divorced, to be anything you want to be, because you are a woman and you need to embody it and be a feminist about it, or not if you do not want to be boxed, but you need to be you.
We are still going through the Charter of Feminists, Principles for African Feminists, and we left on talking about the individual ethics according to the what? To the Charter. Yeah. How a feminist should what? Complete my sentence. Lemon. Behave. A lemon.
Carry themselves and groom another woman.
Fox has said it.
Okay. Kitone mentioned that there were like individual ethics and institutional ethics. I want to maybe briefly take us through the organization. How maybe a feminist organization should be organized according to the Charter.
For institutional, it's basically applying the same guidelines as long as you declare that you're a feminist institutional entity, there are guidelines that you have to go by to hold you accountable, because we don't need you naming and then actually doing the opposite. And among such things is actually encouraging professionalism and accountability, plus also discipline. In which sense, we tend to only care about our individual benefits in entities, and yet these entities are brought about by a purpose, by a reason. So if you are an entity that is focusing on the girl child, or focusing on a certain community, or women, or elder person, whichever it is, the focus should be, or the purpose, everything should be driven towards feeding the needs of those individuals or that community, and not the individual part. So basically the entity, a feminist entity, should be able to fulfill the purpose through those three: professionalism, accountability, and discipline.
Professionalism, accountability, and discipline.
Yes, as we exercise that as a feminist institution, practicing openness alongside transparency and equality should be at the core front of our organizing and our organization implementation. Yes.
We should also exercise responsible leadership. Like, be straight up. Don't abuse another person because you don't pay them. Yeah. Or because you even pay them, yeah? And also you should allow room for criticism, whether positive or negative, because it allows us to grow as an institution. Yes, yeah.
Amma is passive aggressive. I guess she has been abused in feminist institutions.
Yes.
So Faru has a mental health desk, we can support it. But then also, like, feminist institutions need to oppose the hijacking of our institutions by conservative agenda. So you can't say that you're a feminist institution and you're doing work that is anti-gay, or you're doing work that's anti-abortion, or like, you can't. But then also, there's those things that I expect every feminist organization to understand. So how are you upholding labor rights of women? Do they have maternity leave? Wellness also and self-care is very key. And since it's something that you talk about in the video ethics, why are you putting together time for your employees to have some rest? Are they getting leave? Are they getting paid leave actually and paid vacation days. Yeah. That kind of, yes.
Okay. Also, what
It
stood out?
starts with one. Yeah, in this Uganda.
What stood out for me in the institutional ethics is we believe that feminist spaces are created to empower and uplift women, not to bring them down. So feminist institutions should create and be spaces where women are free to be them and grow. Not again, you see a woman rising and then you start putting up blocks to throw her down. Yes. And also, in this, I also do not expect a person who is working with a feminist organization to be the one to pull or do bad things, you know? Because, for example, the people who are currently paying maids 20,000, 50,000 in this economy.
Why?
And no leave day from Monday to Friday, yes?
And make them contribute towards utility.
Meanwhile, also our home settings are actually institutions. We should also start from home. You cannot bring down a maid down simply because she's or because of your insecurities or because you feel she's less of a woman than you are. I urge all the women to start from the grassroots. You cannot pay someone 50,000, yet 50,000 cannot cater for food and everything for a month. Yet they're also women, they're mothers, they have children, So I call upon every woman to be a woman, have woman solidarity, and empower and embody feminism.
50,000 when actually the pads are eating all the money that can 50.
And they tell them to contribute towards utilities.
My God.
So that 50,000 you have to contribute towards the food that you're eating. Like you, when you get sick, you go to hospital, then you get your maid like Panadol of like $5, like the hair.
My problem is the fact that they say they'll seduce my man. Okay, you bring someone in your home, and the only thing in your head is they're gonna take your man. So you jump to give them food from the same plate. So the maids eat kaunga.
And that man can be seduced.
Oh God.
When they've not eaten.
So
And the painful reality is you're leaving your kids with this person you're treating like this. And then expecting your children to be safe with someone that you're treating like trash.
They are cooking the food.
And they're cooking your food. Like, do you know you're eating shit sometimes?
So let's just embody. That's the reason as to why it's good to embody feminism. Once you embody, you cannot do some things. You will find them that they're off. Because this girl child who works under you is a woman, is a girl child to be a woman. So let's just have women solidarity, just like the way men cannot steal out on their men. Let's not leave our sisters out and get solidarity.
I'm sorry for interrupting. I'm skeptical about this word. Are you supposed to work under someone or work with someone?
You can work under someone and with someone.
I find under so patriarchal, but okay.
So yeah, a little bit to add on that. Yes, that calls for us exercising accountable leadership. What do we mean by this? Being able to create space, for shared power, delegation of responsibilities, and that means considering someone else's needs, putting them in your shoes, and because it's not for your own gainment, but for also everyone around. That means when it comes to the scenarios of the maids, they're not doing it for themselves because they are earning a pay, but then also it's benefiting you as the owner of the house because you're not there and then they are there. Yeah. They're holding their responsibility where you are not. So that means exercising accountable leadership.
yeah.
Like washing your husband's underwear.
Why? No. Why sincere?
Why would you do something?
All right. I think and I hope to everyone who is listening, if you want to read more about the charter, it's here at Farouk. You can come if you can walk, and if you cannot walk,
It's a website on social media.
But Anna, what do you expect from an organization like Feminist?
wow,
Yeah, wow.
free pads.
Apart from that, you've already told us that.
And even
With
call
your
upon
pad,
people today. So
yes.
when you receive the pads, then how does it
Then what else? What next?
Please, let's go with only pads.
Yes, for the charter still has a lot alongside the institutional ethics and individual ethics. We have the feminist leadership, and if you want to highlight more, understand in depth, and also reflect on your, feminist practices, you can find this copy on our website. That is www.faruganda.org. On our
socials?
But then also maybe to guide someone who goes on the website to get it. So when you go to the website, go to resources and then go to publications. It's downloadable because it's a PDF, so you can download it and read it in your free time.
That's interesting.
You can also request for it through the email, so you can just email us, faruginfo@gmail.com.
And it's also very open to, for example, in case you want to change it to the local languages, you can contact and work with to better the communication between the feminists and women in general.
And as we were still saying, you want to see the charter, you go on Farouk's socials.
That is on Facebook, Farouk 2003. On Twitter, it is far_Uganda. Same with Instagram.
But I
And
think
YouTube,
the best
Bakula
place-
Togere.
I want to Kubatuma. I want to say you go read the charter, please. More the people who call them who are feminists. Please read again the charter.
And it always starts with you. Regardless of what you do, who you serve, I don't know wherever you may be, it always starts with you. So you have to empower you to be able to pour into others. So all together.
And Amma is available to explain anything that you don't understand in
Yeah.
the charter.
Yeah.
So if you have anything that is not clear, Amma,
Yes.
you can call 0800 1093 and then just ask for Amma,
Yes.
the host, and then you can just shoot your question.
Yes.
She said,
What she
Yes, me, I preach, each one teach one, and that means we should try to practice. Let's practice what we preach. That means each one teach one and one love.
Blow, 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 blow.
Yes, this is the Bakuya.
She said what she said.
We are no longer seen as human. Sika kumanga tuli kuchoice. Oh.